Hey gang, do you like annoying theme songs? Well, here you go.
He got into vintage audio a year ago, but there's a lot of things he still doesn't know, so he started up a channel on YouTube, and here he is now, the Vintage Newbie.
Hey gang, and welcome to one of the last episodes of the Vintage Newbie. Why? Because I'm running out of stuff to talk about. Now, I started getting into vintage hi-fi gear, or getting back into vintage hi-fi gear, or getting back into stereo equipment in general about 2.5 years ago. I wanted to recreate like the system that I had in the 90s, like the black with all the buttons and stuff like that, and I found one. It was an Optimus STAV 3280 receiver with some Advent Laureate speakers and a Stanton turntable. Which I kept the turntable for just a few hours and quickly sold it and got an Audio-Technica LP3 turntable that I had for quite a while until I sold it recently. And it was a good system. I'll try and maybe throw a picture up right here. And not too long after getting that, I was talking with some friends of mine, and a buddy of mine named Mark said that he had a realistic receiver and asked if I wanted it. And I was like, sure. And it was a 70s one. It was an STA 84 that I still have. Well, I personally don't have it. I gave it to my daughter for her birthday like a year or two ago, and she has it, and it's awesome. And maybe I'll throw a picture of it here as well, or maybe not. But anywho, so over the last couple of years, I really got into this stuff, learned how to fix some of it, learned a lot about these things. I've bought, sold, and traded quite a good bit of stuff. Only had like 2 or 3 pieces that were kind of duds, but for the most part, I've been really lucky, and it's been in pretty good shape and has functioned quite well. So fingers crossed, knock on wood, that it stays that way. So here I am going to go through and briefly show where that's all led to. That crazy, wacky road of vintage stereo buying, selling, trading equipment, where it's gotten me. I probably won't show or talk about all the things that I don't have anymore. This will just be a run through, and this will be part 1, because I've got like 2 racks of stereos and then like one kind of video I could do on just peripheral stuff, stuff that's not daily used or in other parts of my house. So, all right, without further delay or ado, let's flip the camera around and take a look at today's vintage rack of stereo equipment. All right, here it is. And technically, this is 2 stereos worth of equipment on this rack. There's 2 receivers, 2 tape decks, 2 CD players, and 2 pair of speakers, with just 1 turntable. I had 2 turntables also with another one on the side, but seemed a bit much, and I slimmed it down to just 1. Let's zoom in closer and get a look, starting from bottom to top. All right, down here we have the Technics RS 630 US. I believe that is the model number. Yes, the RS 630 US from Technics. Found this on shopgoodwill.com for like $40. It did end up needing some repairs, so it's cost a little bit of money, more than I thought I'd be spending on it. But in the end, I think it's kind of worth it because this thing is super cool looking. It's got these big, huge meters right there. You can control the volume of your recordings. It can do type 1 and type 2, which is just normal and chrome tapes. It's got these cool wood panels on the side, big heavy buttons right here, and sliding door to open and close it is super cool. I've never seen anything like that before. And the tape doesn't go in vertically, it goes in diagonally. And then you got like a little mirror there, so if you have like a label on your tape, you can read what it is without having to get down at some kind of weird angle. You could be standing up and see it. And that's super awesome. On top of that, got a Soundesign TX0868, I believe, is the model number for it. Now, Soundesign is not known for making high quality equipment, but on this one, they really went all out. This thing, it feels solid. It sounds amazing. Tapes and 8-tracks are not really known for their sound quality, but this one, it sounds really good. A lot better than I was expecting. It's even got like the slow eject, which I like. Like some just shoot them out really quick. So that just little touches like that are cool. I recorded on this 8-track, which I never even knew you could record 8-tracks, and it sounds amazing. I've recorded on another 8-track player and played it back on this one. It sounds really good too. You got your meters that you can watch bounce, which is always fun. You've got your record level, so you can adjust and see, if it's going up into the red, you can turn it down and make sure that your recording is not distorted. You got tons of buttons for fast forwarding, repeating, changing tracks, have it eject at the end of the tape or have it eject at the end of each program. You got stuff that I don't even know what it's for. I haven't even gotten into all this stuff yet. And I believe, while it doesn't say Dolby, it has like a special or NRC, which I think might be noise reduction. Oh yeah, like normal and special for the tape select. So I'm guessing special is like type 2 or chrome tapes. And you've got kind of a Dolby type button on there, or a noise reduction button. I'm sorry. You can plug in mics and record on this. So yeah, if you got a band, plug it in. You can record and make your own 8-tracks. Hell yeah. Got this thing for like 10 or 15 bucks at some junk shop on the side of the interstate out in the middle of nowhere. It was filthy. It had like dead bugs and reeked of roach spray, and it took like a week to get it all cleaned up, but well worth the effort. This is one of my favorite pieces of equipment, and it would have been written off by anybody, but it is so amazing. I know V Westlife did like a video like really kind of going into this, and yeah, go check it out. Now that tape deck, the Soundesign, is plugged into this receiver, the Pioneer SX780. One of, not like flagship, but it was one of the most popular of the 70s stereos. It's got like a super cool, super sleek and clean design. The lighter faceplate. I prefer like the more black faceplates, but like for the display, I mean, for the tuner area, whatever it's called. I don't know, man. But I made an exception with this one because it's super cool. I mean, it's an iconic design and brand and model number. The one drawback is the SDK Darlington power packs, which are known to fry and be a pain to replace. From what I understand, that's mostly an issue if you crank the volume really loud, which I don't, so hopefully I won't have to worry about that. It also has the meters, which are cool to watch bounce around whenever you're rocking out. I'm not really tuned into any specific station here, so can't see them in action, but maybe I can catch something. Yeah, there we go. Got it off so I don't get a copyright, but look at that. That's freaking cool. You got 2 tape monitor inputs, 1 aux, 1 turntable. And connected to that for CDs is the Sony DVP S570D, I believe. And this is a DVD player, but it's got the brushed aluminum silver face going for it. So, blends in with all the other 70s stereo equipment. I love that it has a display that shows what it is you're listening to, but it only works for this one album, this Star Trek The Motion Picture CD that I have. I have CDs that are newer than this, and it still does not display that. I guess it knows that I'm a Trekkie, so cool. Appreciate that, Sony. This thing is pretty heavy, pretty solid. It's not too deep, but it's got some good weight to it, so I like it a lot. And next up for stereo number 2 is the Sansui 7000 from 1972, I believe. It has a wood case. It is solid. My buddy Mark that gave me that realistic STA-84 that got me started in all of this also gave me this. He'd been trying to work on it. It was kind of in pieces, and he's like, "You want to try it?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I put everything back together, like cleaned it up some. It was having like some staticky issues, so I deoxed it. And so far it seems to be in really good shape. This thing sounds phenomenal. So this Pioneer is, I believe, 45 watts per channel, and the Sansui is either 70 or 80 watts per channel. And while I don't crank it up that loud, you can hear the difference. I've got other receivers, and they sound good too, but there's just really something about the Sansui, that the sound, the fullness of it. When I first plugged it in and played it, I was like, okay, I get it. I see what all the fuss is over Sansui. This thing has 2 tape monitor jacks in the back, so you can plug in a tape deck and an 8-track player, or a tape deck and a reel-to-reel player, or even something more modern like a CD player into the play part. It's got an aux jack, so you can also plug in a phone or an iPod or an iPad or whatever the heck else you want. It has 2 phono jacks, so you can plug in 2 turntables, which is awesome. You can go DJ style on it. And the only thing that I really don't like about it is whenever you switch to phono, the beautiful display goes off. Same with if you switch to aux. There's a workaround from what I've heard, so maybe I'll get my mechanic tech guy to do that little rewiring at some point, but not a big deal, because I mostly either listen to my turntable on this one, or I stream it through an old iPhone, which I just have plugged into the tape monitor, so I can plug that in and still keep that display. Yay! On top of that, plugged into it is another CD player. This is the Denon DVD 756, because technically it is a DVD player. Picked it up at a thrift store for I don't know, 10 or 15 bucks, something like that. I think it was 20 and it was half off. I don't know, doesn't matter. It also has the silver-faced brushed aluminum faceplate. This one's lighter than the Sony, but it does have this neat feature of, whenever it's off, it's red. Whenever it's on, it's green. But if you leave it on for a while and you don't do anything, it just turns off by itself, which is cool. The Sony does not have that, and I wish it did, because I left it on the other night and then I saw it was still on the next morning. But yeah, it sounds good as well. I'm quite happy with it. And on top is the Technics SLD2 semi-automatic direct drive turntable. Semi-automatic meaning that you have to put move the tone arm over and lower it manually. But whenever it gets to the end, it goes back automatically, which is awesome. And it also has a stop button. Let's see. Yeah, it's got the Audio-Technica VM95 elliptical cartridge and stylus on it. This thing has anti-skate, counterweight balance. It runs amazingly. The only issue that it had when I first got it was it wasn't keeping time properly, so I opened it up, sprayed the pitch control with the oxide, moved it back and forth a good bit, and now it's all good. Quite happy with it. The hinges and dust cover are in great shape. There seems to be a little something right there, but doesn't feel like anything. Maybe I'm just imagining it. But yeah, in great shape. I love it. And so the speakers for this system. Oh, well, before the speakers, let's show the cabinet, okay? It is an O'Sullivan, whatever that means. It's got wheels so I can move it around, wheel it out for parties. Yay. Now, for the speakers. Oh, no, before we get to the speakers. So you said you had streaming on your Sansui, did you? Yeah, I did. And it's through this iPhone 5 right there. Just got it plugged into the aux jack. And on this one, I do have an adapter right there, the white one, because that little guy right there blocks out radio frequency noises from being picked up, which is cool, because otherwise you might hear it every now and then. And then you can just plug in that white cord in the back, which is a charger. And the black cord is one of these. 3.5 millimeter aux goes into that plug there. And then these go into the auxiliary jack in the back. So you don't need any kind of fancy highfalutin Weem DAC whatever streamer thing. You can just plug in an old phone, and these cords will cost you probably about $20 total, and you'll be good to go. I mean, you have to get up and do it manually, but we could all use the exercise to avoid leading a sedentary lifestyle. Now, finally, where does all of that music that's playing through all of this equipment come out of? These speakers right here. For the Pioneer SX780 and the Soundesign TX0868 and the Sony, I believe. They come through these JBL S26-2 bookshelf speakers. These are home theater speakers, but they sound quite nice. They're a two-way ported speaker. I don't know the decibels. Look it up on Crutchfield, but they sound good. And then the Sansui goes through these Advent Laureates right here. These are a three-way. I think they might be ported in the back. I don't know. But they are 6-inch woofer in mid-range and a 1-inch tweeter. And it all works together to play glorious vintage music. So there you have it, boys and girls. The components of my vintage stereo system rack. At least part one. Because I do have another rack, but it's all realistic gear. So that'll probably be part 2. Or maybe it'll be part 3, and part 2 will be peripheral stereo equipment. Because I've got some backup stuff and stuff that I take if I'm on vacation, or stuff that's in the living room and all that. So maybe that'll be part 2. and we'll save the realistic for last. Until then, have a blessed day.